This isn't coming from ego. This isn't coming from pride. I'm gonna tell you this much. If there's any how to swing video that exists on YouTube you should watch, it should be this one. Because I fully disagree with the majority of not just people on YouTube telling you how to swing your club, but also a lot of instructions, lessons, teaching pros, and everything else. I've had 2 lessons in my entire life. Both more or less were a waste of money. One, I was about 7 years old. It was a group lesson in a tiny little place in California called Claremont Golf Course, a little 9-hole course. Again, took a bunch of kids. They taught everybody more or less the fundamentals of how to swing. This is going back in the day where you actually had to lift both feet to get that rotation around, kind of like the old Ben Hogan swing and stuff. They actually used to use the Ben Hogan's 5 tips for fundamentals. Second lesson I had was at the Super Range in, I believe it's technically Everett, Washington. Biggest waste of money I ever possibly had, having issues on how to hit my fairway woods, but I could hit everything else great. Paid, I believe it was like 45 bucks to have them actually help me hit. And all the guy did is take me in the back and gawk over how beautiful my swing was and how much muscle flex I had in slow motion. They compared it to like 16 different PGA pros. And then, yeah, here you go, bye, have a good day. So the reason I say that this is the one video that you should be watching is this is literally gonna be the video that's gonna be a one size fits all. This is a concept and idea and explanation on how you could actually set your swing up. Your timing, your tempo, your impact, your control, your overall ability and everything is all gonna come from the same exact thing. Impact point. Once you actually learn where your impact point is, you can go and shift it around depending on what club you're actually playing. So as far as impact point goes, 7-iron is supposed to be roughly about center of your stance. You be the judge on where that one's actually gonna be. You're not gonna impact the ball the same exact spot as everybody else. It's not gonna be dead center. You need to figure out where yours is. Wedges are gonna be a little bit further back. Drivers and woods are gonna be a little bit more forward. So without even getting into any of that stuff yet, every single bit of your swing fundamental starts with chip shot. The very simple dynamic of being able to just chip the grass underneath you, building up repetition in just a simple chip that's going to allow you to understand where you consistently hit on the ground. You're not going to be 100% accurate to hit that same tiny little spot that's about the size of a pencil eraser. That's all the ball contact's really going to be. You need to understand your miss area is within 1 inch or 2 inches. So by being able to practice your chip shots, you're going to be able to actually learn where you consistently make contact with that ground. Once you start getting consistent contact down with chipping without chunking it, it's not 100%. You're always going to miss. This is an impossible sport to master. Understand that. But every single time that you start getting more and more consistent, understand you have fundamentals in this swing just for a chip that works all the way up to your full swings. The reason I say that is your takeaway and your startup for your chip shot should be the same idea as a full swing shot, super abbreviated. This allows you to build up consistency. This is why people like Bryson DeChambeau run 1-length clubs across his bag and stuff. It's the same concept of whatever you could recreate, just reliability and ease of just being able to recreate the same repetitive shot. So for me, chip shots and everything else, you don't have to do it my way. You need to figure out how you do it. But same concept of, I will set up a little bit. That's just a chip shot for me. You want to do a pitch shot, that would be the next shot that's going to go a little bit further. You just be a little bit more aggressive, get a little bit more into it, get a little bit more handsy. You're going to actually start bringing it up a little bit. Your swing is based essentially on a giant clock, right? So all I'm doing is about 1 hour or 2 hour into it. So from 6, I'm just going up over here. See, it's not much. It's only about 2 hours. That's chip shot. That's going to be about my 30-yard shot. Same thing. I want to start hitting it a little bit further. I'm going to hit a pitch shot. I'm going to go about 9 o'clock. I just want it to be more or less hip to hip. It's closer to a half shot. This can be closer to a pitch shot. One of the best things I could say when you're practicing stuff like this, if you're out on the range, if you can, this is why I prefer grass ranges. The grass is going to tell you 90% of your feedback next to the actual ball itself. Mats allow you to actually chunk the shot and rescue it because of the compression of the mat itself. That is bad feedback. You could actually develop bad chunks horribly by hitting off of mats all the time. I digress from a little bit of a tangent on that one. I know it. I'm trying to stay focused with this squirrel, but the idea is being able to get the good feedback of how you're hitting, let alone hitting the ground, based on where you are in your pendulum and on the clock. You could just create the same power, the same swing, the same repetition in just your big arc. The only shot that's going to deter from this whole entire thing is going to be a punch shot. That is an important shot that you do need to learn, especially as a beginner. Punch shots are going to be a big thing that you're going to do a lot. Even as a lower handicapper, I still hit punch shots all the time because I end up finding myself in the trees. So more or less to explain what a punch shot is, I'm going to use a 7-iron. Normally I do it with a higher lofted club. I do it with a less lofted club, something a little bit closer to a 5-iron, 4-iron, maybe even a 3-iron or something. But for the most part, I will choke down on the grip, down towards the bottom, and just same thing, an abbreviated swing. It's going to be closer to a pitch shot. I'm just trying to keep the ball down. I will actually play it slightly middle back of my stance, and you want to let your arms gently cock and just grip really hard. I know people are going to tell you don't do it. Lock your hands in, grip hard, flex your muscles, and just stab at the ground, slap at it. That's going to be a punch shot. That's going to help you so many different scenarios, getting out from underneath trees and everything else. I've gotten enough practice on punch shots that I could hit one over 150 yards and pretty much get it to where I'm wanting to go because I've been in the trees that much. I know a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two. So with that being said, quick demonstration. Again, side quest here, punch shot. You can bring it back about 50% and just keep your hands low on finish. Keep the face at it. Don't let the ball get up. Just let it run. Now, back to explaining the rest of your swing, how it all forms out of one thing. So you got your chip. It's going to be very short, very abbreviated, very light. You got your pitch. It's going to be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit bigger swing arc. Now you got your half swings. When you're getting your gauges set up on your distances and you're trying to get your consistency down, say you hit your sand wedge 100 yards, you want to hit a 50-yard shot. That's going to be your 50% swing, your half swing. This right here is actually my 60-degree wedge, which I hit 103 yards. So let's just say I want to hit a 50-yard shot. I'm going to go and use half swing. Half swing, you should have the feel that the club is just above your hips with your hands. You are just right about here in line to the equator of your body. That same full pressure that you would for a full swing is your follow through. That's going to allow you to hit those 50-yard shots. Again, saying that you hit your sand wedge or something 100 yards, half swing. Now this is where the tricky part comes in. 3/4 swing. Most of your shots actually should be about 3/4 swing, slightly above it. Your full shots, and what I mean by 3/4 swing is you should end about shoulder height. Because when you start with your plane here and you rotate, your shoulder's actually going to rise higher. That's more or less going to be your full swing area. You want that feeling that your hands are shoulder height to be 3/4 swing. From there, to the follow through, you should have your optimum amount of control and support of your body without losing control in the process. Once you start getting past that, that's where the athleticism needs to start coming in to be able to change how you actually dynamically move your body to get that impact. Because now you're creating a large arc, a lot of centrifugal force, a lot of different forces in play, a lot more muscles are being engaged. So until you start really feeling overly comfortable, I honestly would suggest 3/4 swings should be your normal. Overall, you shouldn't be swinging 100% power every single time. You should be about 70%, maximum 90%. When you're swinging at 100%, you're basically balls to the walls, out of control, with a very slim margin of success. That's not the most, you can't replicate it the most, essentially. So what I'm getting at is being able to do your 3/4 swing at about 90%, it's going to give you the same amount of power, believe it or not, that you would at a 70% full swing. There is just that much more of your swing arc, that much more centrifugal force that's going to allow you to make that full impacting swing with the amount of power, pressure, impact, and everything else that you need to get that. Which is why when you watch the pros, they just look like they're just, and the ball goes, 50 yards further than we do. I know I'm not a short hitter, but there's still people out there that I can't fathom on how that 3/4 swing goes 40 yards further than me. So, bringing it back, you got your chip, you got your pitch, you got your half swing. That's going to be a pretty big one too, because that is going to teach you where you need to be releasing, impact the ground to get your consistent point of contact. Once you get a little bit more comfortable with that, bring it up, 3/4 swing, again, shoulder height. And now, where do you need to stop at your full swing? All of this stuff, again, back to the chip. You're keeping your left arm straight. All of this is going to be consistent. It's all going to be replicable. You're going to be able to actually set everything up that you possibly need to be successful on your full swing. Because again, stiff, 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 and now you got your full swing where you stop at your arc. They call it the X factor. Your body has an X coming from your legs, as well as a secondary X that's coming from your hands to your club. That X is going to rotate up here, where this X stays down here. You're essentially taking that X, crossing it, and then bringing it back. It's a little hard to explain that one. That's why I don't like the fact that people still teach it as a concept and idea, because it even in my head, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I get what they're trying to explain. You're not a perfect X. You're not precision instrument or whatever. You're gonna have faults, flaws. What I'm getting at is the biggest thing that they teach that is important is don't cross the swing plane. Once you get to the top of your swing, you want that club almost parallel to the ground. If you can keep it just slightly before that, when you start your downswing, that club will drop. The reason I'm not doing it while I'm talking is my mic is going to get buried in my face and my beard, and you're not going to be able to hear me, but I will show you slightly slower to demonstrate, and then I'm going to do a full out swing so you can see what I'm talking about with that extra little whip. I'm actually going to do it with a 7-iron so you can see the load on the shaft. So doing it slow, and now full swing. You can see that last little bit in the load and stuff is going to keep you in that line. If you could abbreviate your swing and keep it tight and short, you're going to be a lot more consistent. Now, again, this was a little bit of a long ramble, a little bit of a tangent in some aspects, a little bit all over the place. Again, I suck at talking. Hopefully, above anything else, this actually helps you understand that whether you can do all the stuff physically that I can or not, whether you're going to be a bit more handsy in your swing, you're going to be a bit more hipsy in your swing, whatever, you know, it's however it's going to work for you. Whatever you figure out is actually your swing. You need to develop it, you need to grow it, and you need to work on it. Once you get the chip down and expand it out, all of it all goes right back to the same thing. It's your impact point in the ground. However you get your club from point A, somewhere back here, to point B, back at address, that is your entire swing. However you follow through, that's a whole nother topic for later, because that's going to dictate how your ball flight is and everything else. But just know, you don't have to swing 100% balls out, trying to murder the thing every single time. Do what's comfortable, do what works for you, work on your impact point. If you want to learn different types of chips and pitch shots and everything else, I have a video that I just released before this one that explains all about concepts of chips and pitch shots and stuff, and how to flight the difference, and the fact that your game is going to improve based on learning those. Being able to hit the ball consistently and being able to actually get the feel and touch of how to perform the rest of the stuff is going to lower your handicap faster than any other bit of equipment that you could possibly buy, training aids you could get, unless a training aid actually helps teach you your consistency. That's all of it. Golf is consistency. How can you replicate the last thing that you did? That's it. That's the difference between you and a PGA pro, or John Ram, or Phil Mickelson, or, you know, reaching back on this one, Chi Rodriguez or whatever. They're more consistent and they have better feel and repetition on most of the stuff that they do. That's it. So hopefully this actually explained a lot of how to swing. Hopefully this actually helps some people that are having issues with their swings being able to take a step back, breathe. If you're kind of like how I was yesterday, I couldn't hit half my shots at the range. I had to take a step back, work on fundamentals. Again, do chip shots, do pitch shots, and then work into the full swing, and I started hitting better again. If this did help you, or you just want to argue about it down in the comment section because you disagree with my thought process behind all this, or I didn't convey the information properly enough, please let me know down below. I could literally work on other content to correct these. I don't want it to go out just as wrong information that's going to be bad for people. If it's not educational, it should be entertaining. That's it. That's all what YouTube is. So if you like this, or if you don't, please like and subscribe, leave a comment down below on your thoughts of it. Really, it's gonna help me out being able to actually reach out a little bit more people. I feel I have some different ideas that others don't. I am gonna be doing a little bit more stuff on instructional videos. I'm not going into super tight, intricate, hard things to do. This is gonna be broad spectrum. That's gonna be an umbrella to work for pretty much majority of the people. I am going to be releasing a lot more videos coming up too, so please like and subscribe. Follow if you want to see more content like this. Keep having fun playing golf. Keep it in the fairway. Have a good one.